in these, and apparently you and I are supposed to be the king of the animal kingdom, the rulers of all animals. So obviously we have somewhere trapped on the inside these same potential attitudes. Now, the lion is the king of the jungle, but the lion to me is a great source of encouragement to all of us. Number one, the lion is not the tallest animal in the jungle. Number two, the lion is not the largest animal in the jungle. Number three, the lion is not the heaviest animal in the jungle. Number four, the lion is not the smartest animal or the most intelligent animal in the jungle. And yet, the lion is the king. You don't need to be intelligent. You don't need to be smart. You don't need to have a certain height. You don't need to have a certain weight. You don't need to have any kind of advantage. And yet you can be the leader. Now, what's the main thing that shocks me with the lion is that the lion is not larger than the giraffe, bigger than the elephant, or heavier than the hippo. He's not as smart as the hyena or the snake. And yet, when he shows up, they all run away. The lion, therefore, cancels all of your excuses for not becoming a leader. What makes the lion so unique? An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions led by a sheep, because leadership can transform cowards into violent warriors. Why would a lion become the king of the jungle when he has all of those limitations? He's not the tallest, not the strongest, not the smartest, not the heaviest, not the most intelligent, but yet he runs things. The lion is the king of the jungle because of one word: attitude. The lion has a different attitude that makes every animal afraid of him. Now, we don't want to lead by fear, but it does take respect for you to become a leader. When I use the word fear in the jungle, we're talking about respect. The elephant respects the lion. The hyenas respect the lion. The giraffes, they respect the lion. What makes these massive animals respect such a small cat? The attitude is the difference. For example, a lion will see an elephant, and the thing that comes to his mind, one word: lunch. Now, the elephant is 10 times the size of the lion, probably 50 times heavier, and has more power. One stump of his feet could destroy the lion. But when the lion sees the elephant, he doesn't look at size and weight and strength and power. He looks at lunch. I could eat this thing. And he acts the way he thinks. You see, the size is not the problem. The weight of the elephant is not his concern. What makes him act is the way he thinks. And because he thinks he can eat the elephant, he attacks it. Leadership attitude. Now, here's another amazing mystery. The elephant is larger, bigger, stronger, more powerful, heavier, and more intelligent. And yet, when the elephant sees the lion, one word comes to mind: eater. The elephant is controlled by the way he thinks. He thinks that he is lunch. Therefore, his size, his weight, his power, his might, his authority is a victim of the way he thinks. It doesn't matter how big you are, how intelligent you are, how many degrees you get. It's your mind that keeps you small. And it doesn't matter how small you are, or how unintelligent you may seem to be, or how much you don't have. It's your mind that makes you the leader. Attitude. The difference between a leader and a follower is attitude. Why? Because it is unique attitudes that distinguish leaders from followers. They think differently. And that's because attitudes produce certain behaviors. And those behaviors stretch the leader beyond the limitations of the norm. In other words, it is the thinking of the person that makes them see circumstances differently. How do you think? Write this down. Attitude is a product of belief. This is very important to develop your leadership. Attitude is a product of belief. You cannot have an attitude beyond your belief. So your attitude comes from your belief system. The lion is the king because of what he believes about himself. and what he believes about the elephant and the giraffe. He believes that they are lunch, and he believes he can eat them. His belief system controls the whole situation when they meet. I was born in a house on 4 rocks, 2 bedrooms, 11 kids, 1 mother, 1 father. 1 bedroom for my mom and dad, the other for my 7 sisters. And of course, the boys had to find somewhere to sleep. I remember sleeping on a mattress on the floor. I remember sleeping one time on a mat, and that sheet never kept the mosquitoes out. All around me was poverty, but we didn't know that because everybody was poor. The only way you know you're poor is when you meet a rich person. And there I was, sleeping on the floor, wonderful family. They loved me. We loved one another. My parents loved us. We loved them. We had a great family, but we didn't have much. And every opportunity was around me to think negative. I was on the other side with alcoholics all over the place. And I remember my mother and father would tell us things to fix our belief system. They would say, you can do anything you want to do, son. And they said that when I was sleeping on the floor. They were working on my belief system. And then they taught us the Bible. Now, I don't know about you on your belief about the Bible, but the Bible made what I am today. So don't you talk bad about the Bible. And if you don't believe in the Bible, that's okay. I'm doing just fine, believe me. And the Bible helped me become what I am. But it was that book that checked my thinking. Ephesians 3 verse 20. Don't you laugh at the Bible. The verse said, now unto him who is able to do exceedingly, abundantly, above, far beyond all you can ever ask, think, or imagine, according to the power that worketh within you. I went from an F student to an A student in 1 semester because of my belief system. I graduated head boy. It was my what? Belief system. No one can live beyond the limits of their belief. So if you want to live beyond what you're living now, you have to change your belief system. Leaders are born when you have the discovery of a new belief system. The secret to anyone rising is what happens in their belief system. Your life is what you think it should be. That's exactly what you are right now. You are what you thought you should be. And if you don't like who you are, you got to change what you think you should be. That's how leaders are born. No amount of training in leadership skills or management methods or titles, no amount of promotion or associations with rich people or smart people can ever substitute for the right attitude. No substitute for it. As a matter of fact, your leadership development is determined by, number 1, your perception of who you are. Number 2, by why you think you exist. And number 3, these are very important, your sense of significance. I am giving you my secret to life right here. What brought me from the floor to flying my own jet is these simple statements here. You got to first change your perception of who you are. And that starts with a belief system. Secondly, you must change your perception of why you think you exist. And number 3, your sense of significance. Your perception of who you are. You've got to change it. And most of our perceptions are other people's concepts of us, and therefore we don't have self-concept, we got other concept. What is your perception of who you are? And the second one, why do you think you exist? You've got to discover that you were born for something. Some reason, there's some purpose for your life. If you don't discover that, you'll always have a job, and we'll bury you in an average grave with an average tombstone. Discover that you are important to the human race. You are important to the world. You are important to your universe. When I had to grapple with that question, it was tough because I've been taught by society like you have that you are just a social security number or some NIV number or you're some just kind of a worker in the system. But that's not true. You were born to do something very significant in the world. And you have to get to the point where you believe that. Cultivating these attitudes are the key to becoming a leader. Now, when attitudes of leadership is married to the ability of leadership, then you become a leader. You can have potential, but if you don't have the belief, your potential becomes a victim of your present belief. Remember the elephant? The elephant has great power, but what makes him afraid of the lion is his belief system. So your mentality has to be equal to your ability for you to manifest leadership. You do have the ability, you were born with it to be a leader, but your mentality hasn't matched it yet. And that's why all of your capacity to lead is buried under your lack of belief that you can. Belief is so powerful, it can make an elephant act like a sheep in the presence of a lion. You know, normally people who are insecure, whenever they meet somebody who is confident, they always call the confident arrogant. When you discover who you are, you can't help but be confident. I don't pretend, I don't try to have confidence. If you try, that means you ain't got it. If you're faking it. Confidence is a product of belief. What you believe about yourself determines the way you think about yourself, and the way you think about yourself is the way you behave. And you behave bold and confident and zealous because there's some things you discovered about you and about life that makes life change the perception. You can never fully carry out the mandate of leadership if you don't have the mentality of leadership. And that's what this session is about. It's about mentality. As a matter of fact, integrating attitude and attributes and aptitude and altitude produces leadership. That's a lot of ops there. Each one of them is a different experience for leaders. First of all, your attitude got to be right. Then you must marry that to attributes. That means gifts you were born with. Then you got to marry that to aptitude. That means now you got to educate and train those gifts. That's why you read and study and go to school, for your aptitude to be increased. And then your altitude means you got to change the level of associations you are in. You know, it's amazing. When you change your aptitude, you normally want to change your altitude. Leaders choose their friends based on their destination. And one of the keys to developing leadership is you have to appreciate the fact that no one is responsible for your life except you. I had to take charge of my life as a teenager. And at age 13, I discovered who I was. I became a problem to the whole family. My mom said to me, she said, "You are a different boy. You are a different child." But something happened to me at age 13. I discovered myself. Different was simply meaning you don't think like the rest of the kids. That's what it means. And remember, thinking is belief system being exposed. And therefore, I married my attitude and my attributes, and my aptitude changed, and I began to study for a different reason. And suddenly my altitude changed. I started attracting different types of friends. And by the way, you know, when an eagle, this is the other animal that God identified himself with. I studied eagles intensely. I got a whole series on eagles because you must study to understand life. And I discussed with eagles. They said eagles can fly up to 3 to 4 miles in the sky. That's almost high as some jet planes. And do you know that when an eagle is flying at top flight, they said that if an eagle meets another bird in top flight, it has to be another eagle. Because they're the only birds that can fly at that altitude. So, here's a thought to take back to work with you. If you keep running into pigeons and ducks and tobacco doves, you are flying to no. Do you know what a pigeon is? Eagles never flock. You only find them one at a time. So if you keep attracting a gang of people around you at work, everybody want to bring gossip to you, cackling, you are in bad company. That's why I really want you to give yourself a big hand today, because to come here, you must be an eagle. You left the pigeons back at the office. Well, why are you going down there? Who do you think they are? They can't teach you nothing. Hey, that's a chicken talking. And they only fly when they're frightened. If you're going to be a leader, you got to be careful who you fly with. People who criticize got time for it. And that's why I ignore them. I ignore my critics because they got time for it. I'm too busy. I'm too busy succeeding. I'm giving them something to criticize. The greatest revenge in life, they say, is success. It's not ability, it's mentality that makes a leader. And that hippopotamus has power. They got ability, strength, size. They got might. They got ability. What they lack is mentality. The lion got a different mentality, so he eats them for lunch. What you think is more important than what you do. And so if you want to change, you got to work on this attitude bit. There's my conference people again. Here's my philosophy. My philosophy is this: trapped in every follower is a hidden leader. Trapped in every follower is a hidden leader. Therefore, the goal of true leadership is to release the hidden leader in the followers. If you are a true leader in your department or in your company supervisory position, you are a true leader as a pastor or maybe as a manager in some company, your greatest example of leadership is production of leaders. True leaders do not maintain followers. They produce leaders. True leadership focuses on producing leaders, not followers. In other words, a true leader begins to train people under their care immediately to take leadership. The capacity to lead is in every human being. And leadership is like a tree trapped in a seed. And every one of you that walked through that door today is a seed that was sent to the planet to produce a tree to serve the world your fruit. That's why you were born. And deep inside of you is a person no one knows yet. And what you've done so far is just initiation process. That's why no one should cancel you yet, because you ain't quite come out yet. Leadership manifestation requires the right environment. You know, a seed can be placed on a windowsill in your tiled bathroom and stay there for 50 years, and the tree never come out. Even though the seed has a tree and a forest in it, it is a victim of the environment. If you can just get that seed off that windowsill and put it in soil with a little bit of water, here comes the future. That's the way life is. You are no different from a seed. I got stacks of CDs that I buy, you know, Les Brown and Tim Red and all the others, and I put them in my car, and when I'm driving, every time I sit in my car, I'm feeding my seed constantly. Even the music you listen to, got to be careful. It can be poison to your germination of your seed. The next time someone says they want to get to know you, ask them, are you fertilizer or rock? There are some folks in your life right now who are very toxic. They will pollute your seed. You'll never come out. Have you noticed that people who ain't going nowhere want you to go with them? Folks who ain't doing nothing in life want you to do it with them? This is why you got to break away from your best friends sometime to become better. You outgrow people, so know when to leave. If they keep asking you questions, it's time to go. People who you can ask questions. That's how you grow. True attitude is manifested in attitude. And what I mean by that is when you discover leadership, it comes out in your attitude. Attitude must be a product of your belief system. Everybody in here have attitude. Everybody. What's about the leadership attitude? There are two types of concepts. The first one is the leadership spirit and the spirit of leadership. Two different concepts. The leadership spirit is what you were born with. Your ability, you never receive it, you came with it. But your ability that you were born with is trapped by the mentality that they gave you from your culture. This is why to be great, you got to divorce yourself from your traditions and your culture. Because convention makes no room for creativity. It doesn't allow you to believe beyond the norm. Matter of fact, they want you to fit in, not stand out. So society is all worked, it's all designed for you to behave yourself. You're trained to limit yourself. Isn't it amazing that you buy a car that can travel 150 miles per hour, 180 miles per hour, and then the same country that sells the car to you puts up a sign, 50. You know, thought about that, it's a problem. Yeah, see, Ford Motor Company makes the car to make 180, and then they make sure you only can travel 50. Society is designed to make sure you never become a leader. And that's why for you to become a leader in your workplace, you're going to have to break away from the traditions. Now, I want to warn you, when you decide to break the speed limit, all your enemies will wake up in the office. Every critic that you thought was your friend will suddenly come alive because people don't want you to leave them in their nothingness. You can't lead from behind. That's why sheep are not leaders. They follow the sheep hips in front of them. But when you're out front, ain't no hip to follow. You got to design your course. That takes boldness and risk. It takes all kinds of challenging commitment to decide where you want to go in life up front. Having the leadership spirit means that you are naturally created to lead. But the mentality is what wakes it up. Some of you in this room look just like that. You are powerful, but they got you in the bush. The social environment is just making you afraid to come out and take what's yours in life. You are the way you see yourself. Do you think you're a grasshopper? The elephant actually thinks It's a meal for a cat. The mindset of a leader is what changes his attitude toward life and himself. The spirit of leadership refers to attitudes, mentality, and mindset. And that's been the key to all great leaders. And sometimes that spirit comes forth under pressure. Many leaders in history are products of circumstances that force them to think differently. That's what makes them emerge as leaders. The spirit of leadership is a mindset. It dictates your motivation. It is revealed in your response to your environment. The spirit of leadership is a perception of yourself and the world. How do you see the world? The spirit of leadership is your convictions that regulate your thoughts about yourself and people. The spirit of leadership is your personal, private philosophy of life. How you think about life and yourself. The spirit of leadership is your thoughts about oneself and one's environment. It is your belief system which controls your behavior. The spirit of leadership is the source of your action, which determines the response and how you interpret the world. This is very important. I see the world differently from most people because of my belief system, which becomes my attitude creator. So I don't panic over nothing. I don't panic. Panic is a product of a certain belief system, and therefore it is your mental conditioning. Success keeps the right company all the time. You have to nurture yourself so that you can produce the right attitudes. And nurture means to feed yourself the right information. We are what we think, and we become what we continue to think. You tell your kids, go read the book, go read your homework, and then you watch TV. They're confused. Your kids will value what you value. If you value TV, they're going to hate books. If they want you always reading books, they're going to turn the TV off, because whatever mom and dad values, and mom and dad are doing well, that must be what we should do too. So our kids fell in love with books. My house is full of books. I'm beginning to run out of the house, because you become what you think. You cannot rise above the plane of your mental conditioning. So I got to constantly keep feeding my mentality. I have to work on it so I can work up my altitude of mentality. To change your life, you must change your mind. And this is why the heart of leadership is working on the way a person thinks. Here's the most important thing to write down. 7 principles of true leadership. Number 1, true leadership is inherent in the human spirit. You have to believe that first. Every human being possesses the capacity to be a leader. Whether they die as a follower is a choice. Number 2, true leadership cannot be taught. It must be discovered. Number 3, true leadership is self-discovery. And number 4, true leadership is serving your gift to the world. Everyone in this room was born with a specific gift. Some of you got 2 of them. Don't try and develop all of your gifts. Focus on one. Make it your primary gift. And then refine it. And then serve it to the world. It is your gift that makes you valuable, and serving it is your responsibility. And the better you serve your gift, the greater leadership you achieve. So whoever can serve their gift more effectively, they become the greatest in the group. No one came to earth without a gift. Problem is, we try to take other people's gifts and make them ours. If you become an imitation, you're going to be broken. You need to find your gift, your strength, your unique power. And you need to take that and say, I'm going to become this. And then serve it to the world. And that's your leadership born that day. We've all been taught to be employed, not deployed. And so they always tell you, go to school, get an education so you can get a job. They never say stay in school so you can own a business. They don't even think that way. It doesn't even cross, your parents don't even think that way. And so you follow the convention of the community. And I'll never forget the meeting when I went to Malaysia to speak. I was speaking at the largest Sony plant. I had 2 days with them. The first day, I spoke to all the managers, all the CEOs. I was the speaker to train them. There was Chinese and Japanese and Singaporeans. All these folks were there in Malaysia working for Sony. And I had to do training there for management development and leadership training for the whole day. The third day, the president of that particular firm called me up and he says, our CEOs and our executives are so impressed by you, we want to take you for lunch. We want to talk to you some more. And they were picking my brain, man. They were taking notes, asking me questions, keep writing stuff. And all of a sudden it hit me, wait a minute. All these guys are millionaires, man. Every Chinaman I know owns a business. And here I am in the heart of Asia, where they come from. said, sir, pardon me, I have a question that I need you to answer. And they looked at me. I said, tell me, how come everywhere you go, no matter where it is, you go to the lowest ghetto in the heart of the township, and you end up owning a business? Can you tell me what is your secret? And they looked at each other and they laughed. And then the president said to me, he said, well, you know, we've been noticing that ourselves. We have concluded, based on our assessment, that whenever you go into a community, the first thing you look for is a job. He says, when we come into any community, the first thing we look for is a business. He said, it's attitude. They don't even look for a job. They don't even think about employment. They think deployment. As a man thinketh, so he becomes. So I said to the guy, I said, excuse me, so when you go into a town, any country, so what do you do until you get a business? He says, any employment we have is always temporary. We only want enough money to start a business, that's all. Mentality. Number 6, true leadership is self-manifestation. You become a leader when you discover who you are and decide to become it. True leadership is self-manifestation. Your leadership is not ahead of you, it's trapped within you. You are so great, it's amazing. But the environment won't allow you to become it. Sometimes our past will hold us back. Mentality just don't allow you to step out and take a risk. What you're doing now, it's not what you could do. Whatever you're impressed with, God's disappointed in. Stop waiting for everything to show up before you start. Every leader, I tell you the truth, every leader ain't know what they doing. Me included. We don't know what we're doing. We just say, I got this idea, I'm gonna go for it. And for heaven's sake, believe me, we ain't got no money. What I mean is for our projects. Because you are not a leader unless you're doing something you cannot pay for. I say you're not a leader unless you are doing something you cannot pay for. Leadership demands that you got to take risks. Number 7, leadership is self-exposure. When you expose your true self, get ready. People won't understand you, but go for it. Let us meet you before you die. Not the one the culture made, not the one society produced, the one that's on the inside that we have yet to meet. The true self. This is why I keep telling people you got to die empty. I want to give you this, what I call the 5 questions of life that you have to answer to become a leader. Number 1, who am I? Number 2, where am I from? Number 3, why am I here? Number 4, what can I do? And number 5, where am I going? These are the most important questions in life, and until you answer them, you will always be a follower. Who am I has to do with identity. You got to discover who you are, apart from 6.7 billion people. Number 2, where am I from has to do with your heritage. And I'm not talking about your ethnicity, because your ethnic heritage is so confusing. Don't try to find yourself by going back in your ethnicity. You'll never find out where you're from. Why am I here is a question of purpose. You got to discover why you were sent to the planet. Where am I going is a question of destiny. And what can I do is a question of potential. And therefore, when you discover these answers, you discover your leadership. I know who I am. I didn't always, but I found out who I was. And secondly, I know where I came from. And I didn't come from the Bahamas. I didn't come from Africa, because both of them are limiting. All cultures limit you. I had to come from something greater. My greatest mentor in history in my life is Jesus Christ. And one time they asked him, where are you from? You know what his answer was? He didn't say I came from Bethlehem, grew up in Nazareth, and had friends in Capernaum. His answer was, I came down from heaven. They said, no, we know your mother, she's Mary, and your daddy Joe. He says, no, I came down from heaven. He refused to have his heritage limited to earth, and so am I. Me, I came through Baintown. I didn't come from Baintown. I came through the Bahamas. I didn't come from the Bahamas. Wherever you came from can limit you or give you unlimited thinking. I said the reason why they call Africa Mother Africa is because you never get your heritage from your mother. That's why you carry your father's name. The seed of your identity comes from your father. I came down from my father through the mother. That makes me limitless. I'm just like my daddy. All things are possible with my father. True leadership is not a method nor a technique. True leadership is an attitude. When I discovered that I came out of God, not out of the Bahamas, suddenly the Bahamas became too small for me. So today we have effects in 90 countries right from this island, because the mentality that was developed here goes beyond this entire region. Don't let where you came from physically trap you. Don't let your ethnic heritage become your graveyard. Stop being black and white and yellow and stuff. Forget that stuff. That's too limiting. Become like your father. Be a man. It's a spirit being. There's no limit. Everything.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is my classic. This has been my classic training. I listen to this video at least once a week. How many of you, in fact, you couldn't cope with the lessons? You couldn't cope writing? Let me see, wave your hand. Every time I listen to it, it's always something my spirit will pick up. It's not just about the head knowledge, it's about what your spirit picks up. I'm telling you, the first thing my spirit picked up in this training years back, many of you must have heard me say it over and over again. I keep saying it. You will never rise beyond the level of your mental conditioning. That was the very first lesson I picked up from this training 3 years ago that I listened to it the first time. I say, what? I say, so that means my life will never go beyond the level of my thinking. Then I rather pay attention to this thinking stuff. I'm telling you, I rather pay attention. He led me to start studying about the human mind and about thoughts. And I will tell us it is powerful what I discovered. I found out that the unit, the most basics of creation is thought. Even in the Bible, you will see it manifested. And God said, let us make man. And God said, what do you think it is it? And God had an idea and God had a thought. Let me tell you, any single thing you will bring into manifestation or creation, it all starts with a thought. And guess what? A lot of people don't engage their thoughts intentionally. They don't. I was having a chat with one of my close leaders. Okay, look at, I want to read out exactly what I sent to her from my text, because I think it reckons, so that you will know that that's a life for me. I sent her, I said, I have learned over years not to start something until I've seen myself finish it in my world of imagination and creation. You must finish a thing before it is finished. I will come this way. How many of you have seen, let's be very practical, how many of you have seen an architect? Or maybe you want to build a house and then your architect tells you, okay, you know what? I think I've designed the floor. I've not really designed the deckings. I've not really designed the style of the roof. I've not really designed. I've just done the sketch mark, the sketching of the foundation. How many of you will start building a house with such a plan from an architect? How many of you? Sir Adeniyi, Dr. Adeniyi, can you kindly unmute yourself? Let's have a conversation. How many of you? Let me see you. Please, can you unmute yourself? Let's have this conversation. There is a notification on your screen where you have to unmute yourself. All right, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
All right, sir. So my question goes this way. You want to build a house and then you meet an architect that should put up a plan for you. Yes. Okay, a design for you. Yes. And it was just done doing it's not yet done doing the design. It just gives you a sketch. Would you build a house on that sketch?
No, I won't build a house on a sketch.
You would. You want a finished work. You want him to finish the design.
I want a completed work. I want a completed work. In fact, I must have checked correction made and then adjustment made before building could start. That's the way I will look at it. I won't build on ordinary sketch.
Okay, now,
Sketching is just give me an idea.
okay, giving you an idea. Now watch now. Now, at the end of the day, where is that thing coming from? Where is it coming from? It's coming from the imagination and the creativity of someone. That's where it's coming from. The plan and the sketching is coming from the imagination, creativity, matched up professionalism. Okay, matched up with professionalism. Now, you want to start building until you have a plan. The Bible said it's very, very clear. Have you seen a man that builds without a plan? Hello? Have you ever seen that? It doesn't happen. So look at it here. How do you engage it in business? A lot of people don't sit down and think through and see themselves accomplishing. There's a principle I want to bring it here. I want to bring it here. Yes, an architect can put up a design and there can be mistakes when you want to execute on it. When you start executing, there can be mistakes and then there will be some adjustments. There will be some adjustments. You may never have a perfect work. There is always an adjustment to a plan. There's always adjustments when you are actually executing. But first of all, there is a perfect mental picture of what you want to accomplish. So my question for you this morning is this: do you have a mental picture, a perfect mental picture of what you want to accomplish in our business? Do you have? How would you know you have achieved it when you don't have a picture of what it looks like to achieve it? How many of you are following? Let me see wave your hand. If you're following me, let me see wave your hand. Let me see wave your hand. How would you know how would you know you've scored a goal when there is no goal post? Are you getting it now? Can you imagine a match without a goal post? There will be no winner, but sure there will be losers. Why? Because you just wasted your time achieving nothing. So creating a mental picture of what success means to you in something, it's very, very vital. And how do you do that? Goal setting. Goal setting. And in this, our business and in our support project, we have created a project that gives you the privilege to have a clear mental picture of what success and progress looks like. It's left for you to sit down, meditate on it, and get yourself to a place where you can start asking yourself, how can I make it happen? How can I make it happen? 2 weeks ago, we dealt with goal setting. No one becomes successful without goal setting. Success is about setting goals and achieving goals by Brian Tracy. Anyway, in RODI, we have adopted the definition of success according to L. Nightingale, which is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal or goal. A progressive realization of a worthy ideal or goal. So when you progressively work towards achieving a goal or an ideal life or whatever you set before you, then you are successful. You don't become successful when you achieve the goal. You become successful. You are a success when you progressively, because success is progressive. You achieve a goal, you set another goal, and then as you move towards the next goal, you are being a success. I've seen a lot of people that achieve a particular goal, very wonderful one, and then they stay there. Over a period of time, they became what? It became their past. He used to be a millionaire. He used to be the richest man. How many of you have heard so many? He used to. I've seen many of them. He used to. That is why the worst thing that happened to you in life is to live a stagnant life. In life, there is no stagnancy. It's either you are progressing or you are retrogressing. You have to keep progressing. You have to keep progressing. That is why when you see a man that has quit learning and developing himself, you see a man that has started dying. When you see a man that has quit progressing, that has quit learning, improving it on himself, you've seen a man that has started dying. It is a lifetime journey. Someone asked me the question saying, one day, when will you retire? I say, when I die. Tell me where it is in the Bible that men retired. Tell me any book. Tell me where a man retired. I say, when I die. He said, what? The level of work I will be doing when I'm 80s, when in my 80s, in my 70s, and in my 90s will be very, very different. And one surest thing that I know that will keep happening, that I will keep doing, is that two things I'm sure of. I will keep learning and I will keep touching lives. I will keep learning and I will keep giving back. I will keep learning, I will keep developing myself, because I know that the world I'm seeing today in my 30s, it will be different from the world I'll be seeing in my 60s and in my 80s. The reason why a lot of people in their 60s, they're in their 60s today and in their 80s today, the problem is that they've refused to adapt, they've refused to change. I don't know how to press phone. No, you don't know how to press a phone. Oh, no. I don't know how to use Android phone. You don't know how to use Android phone. So you want us to go back to when we used to write letters. You want us to go back there. Is that what you want? You must have to develop a good and a clear mental picture of what success is. We have a goal we've set in RDI. In 6 months, we are working towards helping you to earn $1 million, at least $1 million naira. How will that happen? Many of you have said a lot of things you want to accomplish, and you didn't do anything, as in you didn't even scratch it. How do we make it happen? I've never seen this anywhere. There is something I developed 3 years ago that helped me to, work on people, and then we are able to achieve massive success with it. I call it goal metrics, but I've never seen it anywhere. When you are done setting goals, ask yourself, how can I make it happen? How does this thing happen? For example, someone sets a goal and says, I want to be having matching bonuses every day, at least one matching bonus in a day. What is a matching bonus? Do you see now? We are breaking it down. What is a matching bonus? How does it happen? I want to make sure I'm having one matching bonuses every day in my account, 7,000 naira at least once a day. Do you know what is a matching bonus? The matching bonus is simple. One person on the left, one person on the right gives you 7,000, whether you are the one that connected them or not. So can you imagine having a team of 50 persons on the left, 50 persons on the right, and while they are working on their own? Averagely, there's no way you will not be having one on the left and one on the right, matching bonuses every single day. That is what it takes. 2 persons every day, one on the left, one on the right, matching bonuses. I, as engineer Nonso, I have my team grows by 500 to 600 every month, nationwide. How did I get here? It started with setting a goal to have 10 persons, 20 persons in 1 month, one on the left and one on the right. It took me setting a goal to have a time came where my goal was make sure that at the end of the year that I have 4,000 persons in my team. It started with setting a goal. There was a time I set a goal and I said, I'm hitting 10,000. I'm hitting 10,000. There was a time I set that goal. I will never forget. That was in 2019. I said I must hit 10,000 persons in my team. That was my goal. I think then it was about 8,000 something. And I ended up doing it, making it happen. In 2019, in 2020, I told myself I must hit that 14. It was 13,000. No, it was 14,000. I told myself. This year, 2021, many of you know my goal. My goal is 30,000. I am at almost 17,000 now, and I will keep pressing. Trust me. I've seen myself in 3 months hit about 5,000. I've seen it happen, and I know it can happen. It can be just be 1 month, and I can make it happen. So I keep pressing. Yours, what are you working towards achieving? in this business. You are just inviting people for inviting sake. Oh, they said we should send messages to us. Why are you sending those messages? What are you building? Many of you, you've been here and I've taught you the principle of work. Many of you don't know what work means. I think one of the days I'm going to teach you about work, what it is again, because it's been very long. I think we did this training about four months ago or 5 months ago, and it was explosive. One of the things that work represents is building. What are you building? If someone should ask you now, right now in this business, what are you building? We just gave you one of them, and that's just the skeleton yesterday, which is the RDI leadership structure. That's just like the skeleton. Oh, becoming a rising star mentor, you need to have 3 accounts. You must connect 2 people. How can you connect 2 people? How can you make it happen? Now, we have a ground plan. We have a very great plan that can help you to lay the foundation to earning ₦1 million in 6 months. What is that plan? Our 90 days recruiting challenge. Let me show us the picture here. It's very, very important. Very, very important. Now, all of you here as leaders, you are expected to have discussions with your success lines between now and Friday. I'll be getting a report on that. You have to send me a report on that. Between now and Saturday, between now and Friday, I'm to get a report on that. You have to send me a report on that discussion, okay? It's very, very important. You have to send me a report on that, about that discussion, all right? You have to have a meeting with all your success lines and then to discuss on this 90 days recruiting challenge. Now, let me share the slide with us, the picture with us. All right, so that is it here. Our 90 days recruiting challenge. We launched this challenge June 8th. Now, that is when we launched it. But to you, immediately you get admitted into the millionaire school, your 30 days, your 90 days begins. Immediately you get into the millionaire school, your own 90 days begins. So you must keep a track record of your activities and in your progress within 90 days. You can break it down in what? In 30 days, which is what? 3 months. So Dr. Dini, Dr. Robiton, and Madam Comfort Bassi, all of you connected here newly, you are expected to understand that. And our 90 days challenge is to get us, mentor us, direct us on recruiting 30 partners, meaning connecting 30 partners. So you can share information to 1,000 persons, but our focus is to ensure that a minimum of 30 gets connected to the Ed Plan 2.0 or Empowered Consumerism Company through our own direct sharing. That's our focus. At the end of this training, how many of you will sit down and then build mentally on this? How many of you will sit down and imagine yourself achieving this? How many of you will sit down and finish that work, that building of achieving the 90 days recruiting challenge in your world of imagination? How many of you will do that? Some persons after this meeting right now, everything is done. They don't even replay the video. They don't even get to watch the video again and again. They don't. That will be the end. The next thing, oh, tomorrow morning, we have another millionaire school. You keep doing what you've been doing. You keep getting what you've been getting. I expect you today to sit down and create a mental picture. See yourself achieving the 90 days recruiting challenge. We broke it down to a way where you can have your monthly goals. Your monthly goal is to recruit minimum of 10 and more in a month. Do you see what we are doing here? And how do you achieve it? This monthly goal, very, very simple. Every week, make sure that 10 persons watch the recorded video. I'm not saying you should send to them. Make sure they watch it. Every week, make sure that 10 persons attend our live business meetings. Every week, make sure that you share the business one-on-one with 10 persons. Make sure you do it. How do you do it? Some of you here, you've not been taught on how to share the business one-on-one. Please don't try it. Sharing the business one-on-one can be done in two ways. Number one, you are to sit down with the person and watch the recorded video with them. Watch the recorded, that's what it means to share the business one-on-one. Or some of you here are leaders. You've been taught on how to share the business. You can go ahead and do that. So every week, you are to have 30 exposures, 30 persons witnessing our business presentation. Don't forget, nobody joins the business until they have the business presented professionally to them. And you are not to do so if you have not been taught how to do so. So you are to invite people to our live Zoom meetings or get them to watch our recorded video. How many of you here will focus on this weekly task and make it happen? How does success look like to you? Success is about goals. You have to imprint these goals in your mind. Keep it where you are seeing it. As long as I'm concerned, the only thing I'm driving to, the only thing I'm driving with is my 90 days challenge. And my goal is to create 250 rising star mentors in Success Addictor. In my team, in Alpha Lion team. That's my goal. In all my teams nationwide, 250 rising star mentors. 50 influential mentors, 10 global mentors. That's my goal for the year. And what's going to lay that foundation is a 90 days recruiting challenge. I want us to go back, study this, okay? Study this. Focus on the weekly task, because that's the real thing. The weekly task is what will deliver the results to you. Ensuring that 10 persons watch a recorded video, they are not there with you watching it. Ensuring that 10 persons attend our live Zoom meeting every week. And ensuring that you share the business one-on-one with 10 persons every single week. If you can focus on this, trust me, success is guaranteed. God bless you for being here. Make sure you watch this recorded video over and over again until you get every single detail. All right? God bless you really good. Now, those of you that are supposed to be inducted today, tomorrow I'm going to do quite a makeup induction. I didn't want to interrupt with the training because of how important it is. All right? So please, those of you that have been taught, yesterday I sent out the inviting materials. Make sure you use it to keep inviting people, minimum of 20 in one day, every day, minimum of 20. And ensure that anybody we invite that attends the meetings or watch the recorded video, get them to take immediate action. It's very important. God bless you. Do have a lovely day. Love you all. Bye-bye.